Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. A lot to get into today. A lot of transfer news to get into today. A couple of done deals, but not in terms of Arsenal signings. The first one is Benjamin Sesko. The guy I've been linked to for the last couple of weeks. Let's get straight into it. It was reported earlier today that Benjamin Sesko is actually going to stay at Leipzig. The thing we've been saying the last couple of weeks, I've always said I don't think he's going to choose Man United ahead of Arsenal. He's not going to choose Chelsea ahead of Arsenal. But something that definitely could still have happened is him staying at Leipzig, and he ended up staying at Leipzig. And personally, I don't feel like this is like Sesko staying at Leipzig is something that will make me like not sleep at night. I don't think that would be the case. Like if this was the guy that we 100% wanted, and then we failed to pay the release clause, and then he ended up joining Chelsea, and then he was stranded, then at that point you can be worried about what is going to happen next. But considering he decided to stay at Leipzig, there's nothing much you can do about that. If a player wants to stay where he's been the last couple of years, that's absolutely fine. You can move on to other targets, and it's actually a good thing that it has happened like right before the transfer window, and now you can focus on other targets. Maybe in terms of the media and the fans, maybe you were all focused on Sesko, but maybe at 10 they do have been focusing on different targets. We'll talk about that one soon. So Sesko will remain at Leipzig, absolutely no problem. There's nothing much you can do about that one. I would have loved to get him at Arsenal, so whatever, it's not the end of the world. You can move on to other targets. So let's get to this first. So Benjamin Sesko's decision to remain at Leipzig does not necessarily mean that Arsenal will switch their attention to another forward. The club are also keen to strengthen in the wide positions and may now prioritize a wing instead of a more traditional striker, says Sam D. Now, I'd still be willing to bet that Arsenal will definitely get a striker this summer, unless they keep adding Nketiah. We'll be talking about adding Nketiah in this video as well. Now, for me, I still feel like my priority is to get a midfielder at Arsenal, and not a striker. But I still want us to get a striker this transfer window. Why? Because I feel like striker and midfield and maybe a backup for Saka, those are really the only positions you can improve this season. I don't think we can improve on Ben White. I don't think we can improve on Saliba. I don't think we can improve on Odegaard, Raya, Rice. All of those players start next season. Same with Saka and all of those guys. So Havertz potentially starts next season, but it'd be great to have something different as well in that position. Someone who just wants to score goals. And we've never really tried having an out-and-out striker, an outstanding striker who just wants to score 30 goals every season. We've never really had that. So I'd love to have that. And considering Jesus's injuries and Nketiah being into the move away, I'd like to believe that they're going to get a striker. Now, it might not be a striker first signing. It might end up being a left back first signing, a midfielder, or a winger. I've been asked like, which striker do you want at Arsenal? Name the top 5 strikers you want at Arsenal that are realistic. And I struggle to mention 5 because there's not too many. You're talking about Solanke. You're talking about, if you're not talking about those kind of strikers, Sesko and Solanke, you're talking about 100 million plus. Gyökeres, Isaac, all of those guys that will cost 100 million plus, you'd have to splash money, Osimhen included. Now, it depends on what the transfer plan is. So I throw that question to you guys again. Would you rather just get one striker, 130 million, and don't get any other players? Or would you still like to balance it out? Now, there's not too many strikers who are available. You can mention Jimenez as striker. You can mention the Girona striker. I think it's a Dobrik. Like, there's not too many other strikers that you can get for that kind of money. You'll have to splash money. And the thing is, though, with strikers, you have to pay the premium to get a striker. I don't think you can just get a 5 million striker and they're going to come and bang in goals for you. I think striker is one of those positions you'll have to pay. Goalkeeper, you can get a 15 million goalkeeper and they can work out for you. You can get a 25 million wing and they can become incredible. You can even get, a 20 million defender, and, as long as they know how to defend and, they know how to keep their position and they can get their body on the line, it can work out for you. But a striker, I don't think you can get a 5 million striker to compete with the likes of Haaland and stuff like that. You'll need to pay the premium. Now, they might still end up doing that. We never know. I still feel like we're definitely going to get a striker, but they're looking at a winger now. If they go and get someone like a Leao and don't get a striker, I don't think many people will be too annoyed with that. It depends on the kind of players we are buying. But for me, I really trust whatever they're going to do. I'm not worried at all. And they already showed me what I needed to see the last couple of transfer windows. They want to sign players early. They want to, they know we are only 2 points behind Man City. They know we are only 1 goal away from the Champions League semi-final. They definitely do need to. They know that we definitely need to improve the squad. I'm very sure they know that. So this other one from, additionally, Benjamin Sesko is not on the only target on Arsenal's radar. There is appreciation in the likes of Alexander Isak, Victor Gyökeres, and Victor Osimhen, among others. But the club are not hell-bent on landing a marquee centre forward, certainly for the eye-watering numbers involved following Kai Havertz's impressive finish to the campaign. That is according to Ryan Taylor Sport. Yeah, that's great. I think Havertz is still definitely going to start games next season. But in terms of a second option, something different in midfield, I think they're definitely going to get someone else. Unless they get a winger who can also play as a forward. Because if Jesus is not there and Nketiah is not there and Havertz is the only one, I don't think Havertz is going to play Premier League, Champions League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. So what's the other plan? Is it Trossard as a centre forward? Is it Madin as a centre forward? It depends. I think you're still going to get a striker, but the media does not know about it at the moment. So I don't have a problem with that. If the media doesn't know about it, if the fans don't know about it, as long as by the time we get to pre-season the player is there, I absolutely have no problem. We don't really have to know about who they're targeting. I know they're going to get the player. So that's all that matters. So Osimhen is available if you want him. Gyökeres is available. I don't even know if they're 100% available. Sporting might not want to sell someone like a Gyökeres anyway, so there's that as well. You'll need to pay the money. And it depends on how desperate you are. One thing that you also don't need to do is to show the rest of the clubs that you're desperate to get a striker. That, oh my goodness, if Arsenal don't get a striker this season, we are done. Now, I don't think in that position, I don't think we are desperate. Even if we don't sign anyone completely this transfer window, I still feel like you're going to finish second ahead of everyone else, but not Man City. So to compete with Man City and to beat them to the Premier League title and to compete with the likes of Bayern and Real Madrid, that's when you need to keep on improving the team. And that's why you need to make signings. And that's why you need to get another, as just a striker who just wants to score goals. That is what I want. A striker who just wants to score goals. A striker who can score 6 games in a row. A striker will be annoyed if we win 5 million, they didn't score. I want to striker like that, a striker who just wants to score. And Gyökeres was my first option after we had that Isak was not going to be realistic. He was my first option, and then that story disappeared the last couple of weeks because of the latest on Benjamin Sesko and all of those guys. But for me, I'm very patient. I know we are definitely going to get a striker no matter whatever anyone says. We are going to get a striker, especially considering Jesus' injury and also this Nketiah from Sky Sports. I am told that Nketiah is almost definitely going to move on from Arsenal in the summer, especially if they bring in another striker. So I don't expect Nketiah to be here next season. I really don't. For the player himself, I don't think it would be a good idea to stay on. I think he'll not get any game time at all if he wants to advance in his career. In terms of Arsenal wanting to make sales and get money, I don't think there's too many players we can sell apart from Ramsdale, Smith Rowe, Nketiah. There's not too many unless they want to sell Zinchenko, Jesus, and I don't think those are the top priorities in terms of selling. So I think Nketiah will end up moving on, and we'll have to get a striker because Jesus may be playing on the wing, and even if Jesus stays, injuries are a problem because if Jesus is ruled out for like 4 months, then it becomes a problem. What if Havertz is not available for 2-3 games in the season? Then who do you play in the 4 position? So I think they're definitely going to get a striker. It's not going to be Benjamin Sesko. He's decided to stay at Leipzig. All the best to him. We now have to go to other targets. I've been thinking about which striker we can get. There's not too many. In an ideal world, I'd absolutely love Oli Watkins at Arsenal. That would be such a dream, but there's not too many strikers you can get at the moment unless you pay 100 million plus and potentially only get a midfield and then forget about the winger, forget about the defender, maybe forget about the goalkeeper. It's not going to be easy. Now, another player who's looking unlikely to join Arsenal is Douglas Luiz. Now, this one compared to Sesko, I really wanted Douglas Luiz at Arsenal, but this is the latest from Fabrizio. Juventus manager Thiago Motta has given green light to Douglas Luiz swap deal. Juventus and Aston Villa are more than close to final agreement. Weston McKennie, Samuel Ealing Jr. and 20 million fee to Aston Villa. That is crazy, man. 2 players plus 20 million euros. That's a lot. So if they, for example, asked us, okay, give us Nketiah and Smith Rowe plus 20 million, yeah, that one would not be possible because if that's the case, they're the ones who would need to give us money on top of that because I don't see which 2 players would give Aston Villa and then plus money. I don't see. You can say Lokonga plus 30 million, not Lokonga plus Smith Rowe plus 20 million. That doesn't make sense. I don't even think you can say Nketiah plus any other player at Arsenal plus 20 million. No, we can only make one swap and maybe give you like 10 million. So this is a tough one. The thing is, though, Douglas Luiz might have wanted to come to Arsenal, but the team itself, they see Arsenal as a competition for top 4. So they definitely would want him to go abroad so that it doesn't really affect them. Now, I didn't expect Douglas Luiz to be leaving Aston Villa because they've qualified for Champions League. I thought they were going to go to the next stage with players like this, but they need to sell players because of FFP, and they're going to get 2 players as part of that, which makes it easier now in terms of them not having to search for a couple of other midfielders in that midfield. If they had just sold Douglas Luiz, they would need to get other midfielders, and other teams would know they don't have midfielders, and they would charge them 70, 80 million. So it becomes tougher. So for them to get 2 players in terms of the swap deal, they're in a good position. If those players come in and do great for them, absolutely fine for them. It can work out for them. They don't really need to look for players in those positions, and they can focus on other things. But for us, it's looking like Douglas Luiz deal is not going to go through. I would have offered the swap deal, but I don't think Aston Villa would want to sell him to us anyway. I think they want him to go abroad. Now, this one, again, I really wanted Douglas Luiz, but it looks like it's not going to happen. Now, will this one happen? Yusuf Fofana. Fabrizio already confirmed yesterday that Yusuf Fofana is definitely going to leave Monaco 100%, and it has also been confirmed that Arsenal have held talks. So this is the latest on Yusuf Fofana from Ryan Taylor. Arsenal admires of Monaco midfielder Yusuf Fofana and have held initial talks with his representatives, but at this stage discussions have gone no further than that. So again, midfield situation, we don't really know what is going to happen. We don't really have to know. As long as they have a plan, I'm sure they have a plan. We don't really have to know. It's not that Luiz is not going to join Arsenal, Fofana is not going to join Arsenal, and okay, that is the end of the world. There's no one else is going to join. No, I'm pretty sure they have a plan. Yusuf Fofana, we said, if it's just Partey out, Yusuf Fofana in, I'm not sure I'd be 100% comfortable with that. But if Partey is staying and then you add Fofana for less than 30 million, that would be great. I'd 100% take him. So at least the talks have been held. We don't know what the next step is from that. If he has to want to join Arsenal, first of all. Monaco, we must accept the bid that we make, or the release clause or whatever that we give them, and then it makes it easier to join Arsenal. But Yusuf Fofana does seem like those kind of players who might end up playing for a PSG or a Juventus or an Atletico Madrid or teams like that. The kind of midfielders we are looking for, I'm not 100% sure we are going to go for players like Fofana. But we've held talks as they've been confirmed, and now with Luiz signing looking unlikely, unless it's the deal collapses with Juventus. There's not, again, too many midfielders you can get unless you pay 100 million for players like Bruno Guimaraes. But it's slightly easier to get a midfielder than a striker. Striker is very, very tough to get any striker. So Yusuf Fofana, less than 30 million, I'll take him. He has that strength in midfield. He'll bring something in our midfield. He'll definitely add something. He'll add our numbers as well in midfield. But in terms of the ability of completely controlling the midfield and picking out the ball from the defenders and putting us on the attack with one pass to Odegaard or one long ball to Saka or Martinelli, and whenever we are under the cosh, he can keep the position for a few minutes and help us control the midfield and all that. Don't lose any midfield battles. I'm not sure I'd put all that pressure on him to do all of that, but if he's an option in the team and Partey's not available and he can play, that's absolutely fine. Now, will Partey be available or not? Will he be an Arsenal player? Now, this is the latest on Thomas Partey from Ed Aarons of The Guardian. There is understood to be strong interest in Thomas Partey from Saudi Arabia, while Nketiah, Smith Rowe, and Nelson are also available for transfer. So I think the one for Partey, we're not going to hear the end of it, because I don't think he's going to sign a new contract. Usually when a player signs a new contract, like Sesko has done, the story disappears. We forget about him. He's going to stay at Leipzig. Every other team forgets about him. But for the players that could still leave, this and that, I think Partey still, that story will go on up until the end of August, because he's not going to sign a new contract. I'd be very surprised if Partey ended up getting like 1 year. I'd be like, okay, if he can stay fit, he can be beneficial for us for another couple of years. But if he doesn't, which I don't expect him to, that means that speculation will keep on going about Partey going to Saudi Arabia. We'll always hear that throughout June, throughout July, throughout August. If we sign a midfielder, you'll hear, okay, this midfielder is coming to replace Partey, even if he isn't. Whenever we link to midfielder, you'll be hearing Partey is now linked to Juventus, is now linked to a different Saudi Arabia team. So you're always going to hear that with Thomas Partey, because he's not going to sign a new contract, so that information is going to always be there. Smith Rowe and Nketiah already know. We've talked about Nketiah, Smith Rowe as well. Now, from these 3 players plus Nelson, I think at least it's a tough one. I think at least 2 of them leave. I don't think all 4 of them will leave. That's for sure. I don't think all 4 of them will leave. I think at least 1 of them will stay, and I'm willing to bet as well that at least 2 of them stay, and then 2 of them will leave. Now you can't sell everyone. You can't just say sell Partey, sell Smith Rowe, sell Nketiah, sell Nelson, sell Jesus, sell Zinchenko, sell Vieira. No, you need bench players as well, and you can't just sell 7 players plus Cedric and Elneny 10 players, and then you bring in another 10 players. It's not possible. So you can only get rid of maybe 4 or 5 and then bring in 3 more quality, and then maybe promote the likes of Nwaneri Nexon to play a few minutes, and then hope Timber stays fit and stuff like that. So you have basically the same squad as last season with more quality in terms of that, if you don't want like in more in terms of numbers. So I think at least 2 of them will leave, but which one, I don't know. Personally, I would keep Partey and Smith Rowe, then obviously Nketiah and Nelson to be sold. But again, Smith Rowe and Vieira, both of them to stay, I'm not sure that is going to happen either. So it's going to be an interesting transfer window. I think last season we knew that Xhaka was going to leave already. We didn't know any other players were going to leave. We didn't really expect too many players to leave. Actually, all the keeper sales people are saying, yeah, you definitely keep Partey, keep Odegaard, keep Saka, keep everyone. This time round, I feel there's a lot of players who might end up leaving, and there's a lot of players who might end up coming in. We still need to resolve our goalkeeper situation, our striker situation, our midfield situation. Player contracts. There's talk about a set piece coach. We'll talk about it on a different day. There's talk about contract extensions, the likes of Odegaard. So there's a lot going on. I think this is going to be a busy transfer window. We're always going to hear news coming out every single day. But that's the latest in terms of Sesko not joining Arsenal. Will we jump on alternatives, the likes of Gyökeres and which other striker are we going to get? Are we actually going to end up getting a striker? Are we going to focus on the winger position? Personally, for me, get me a midfielder first and then a striker. I'll be very happy. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you make about all that, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.